You're welcome back. Today is the International Museum Day 2021, a day set aside to create awareness on the importance of the preservation, promotion and repositioning of cultural heritage globally. Nigeria is endowed with several cultural objects with more than 1,000 museum monuments, cell sites and UNESCO World Heritage Sites. It's also marking the day with this year's theme, the future of museums, recover and reimagine, experts say is apt, especially with the advent of COVID-19. Now, joining us in the studio to speak on this year's theme and the situation of museums in Nigeria is the Director General, National Commission of Museums and Monuments, Professor Abba Issa Tijani. You're welcome.
Thank you very much, and thank you
so
for having me.
Thank you.
All right, Professor Abba, of course, when we're talking about the future of museums, we also have to look at the past and, more importantly, the present. What is the state of our museums and monuments right now?
We are very lucky in Nigeria that we have a very rich culture, vibrant culture, that is admired not only in Nigeria, but outside our country. And that's why we as a nation, from the beginning, we started the establishment of museums at different locations in the country to, house our collections, artifacts that are being produced in the various communities. And we have presently 52 national museums across the country, and also we have 65 national declared monuments, and we have 2 World Heritage sites. We are presently proposing over 100 additional monuments to be declared. And the coming of museums in Nigeria has helped in the preservation of our cultural objects. Otherwise, would have been, in a very bad situation. Even though our museums are not in very good shape, some of them, but we have good storage system where we have our collections in storage, and some of them on display for our people to come and admire and see. But we are making headway in trying to improve our museums to international standard.
So let's talk about the theme for this year. You're thinking the museum of the future to meet the present challenges, due to COVID-19, which has brought to the fore a new normal. That is more technology, use of technology in bringing to the fore the beauty of Nigeria's culture. So what are you doing and to meet up with this task of going virtual?
The COVID-19 has actually taken us back. It's very unfortunate that we are not able to open some of our museums or most of our museums for visitors, and that has actually created a situation where the museum was not that very popular. People have forgotten visiting museums and so on. So we had to come up with an alternative, and that is digitization of our collections, but also, allowing people to have access to our collections online. We have what we call the virtual, access to our museums, which you can go online and then see some of our collections on display. But not all the museums across the country, but some of them. So the theme of this year is to now look at our museums and prepare ourselves so that in a way that whatever the situation may arise, people having access to museums should not be limited, so that we'll be able to provide all our services that we provide to the community, to Nigerians, and also to the international community through virtual museums. That is what we are looking at, so that at the comfort of your living room, you will be able to go and navigate through our museums and see the objects, touch them actually, and then see what is coming up, the information, background, history, and so on. So it's actually going to be a kind of an interactive one. That is what we are looking at.
Well, fine. Just before we get ahead again with the issue of virtual museums, earlier you said that the state of some of the museums isn't heartwarming. So what is being done to improve on the quality or just the ambience and the environment around museums? I don't remember the last time, unfortunately, that I visited a museum in Nigeria. But some of the locations where you say you have museums, you just find all kinds of hawkers of all kinds of items. You don't find a real environment that ushers you into what is supposed to be a sobering area where you can take a look at the artifacts and the history of our people.
That's true. That's correct. Actually, that's one of the major problems we have. When I took over as the Director General last year, this is one of the major issues that I want to address. In fact, museum is supposed to be a welcoming environment where families can go, spend the day, not only to go around the, collections, but also the museum environment should be welcoming. They can spend their time and then have fun. So many activities around the museum environment. That is how museum is supposed to be. Of course, when you go outside, you will see that such kind of thing is taking place in museums. And I think the way the museums were built here in Nigeria are meant to only, present our collections. You only have small play area for children and so on, but that's not good enough. And I think because museums are places where people visit, and that is why you see also commercial activities around the area. And that's why people are taking advantage to go and set up some, commercial outlets and so on. And it's not good for our environment, not good for our museums. And that's why we are looking at this kind of comprehensive museum environment. We are going to now start reconstructing and then renovating our museums in a way that the environment will be welcoming, but it's capital intensive. That's why, government cannot alone fund this reconstruction. So we are looking for private partnership. We have a lot of people who are willing to help, and we are now trying to take this advantage and improve on our museum environment.
Okay, we're looking at the use of technology now in our museums. That means we'll be talking about staff and professionalism. Where are you on training and retraining your staff to be at par with the rest of the world?
That is really a serious challenge for us because, of recent, I got to understand that training is no longer a capital budget, and that is a serious problem for us. So you cannot put training in your capital budget and say that you carry out training for staff and so on. So I don't know how overhead can take care of that. So we have this serious challenge, and fortunately now with this issue of repatriation of our artifacts and so on, we are negotiating with our partners abroad to come to our aid in this aspect of training, capacity building, and especially in modern technology. So we have agreed that, for example, Germany is helping us a lot. We have just recently, got secured some kind of training for some of our staff through online, and then also through physical contact to going to Germany, for a couple of weeks. And also we'll try our best to bring to the fore this issue of training and capacity building, especially digitization of our collections, and then also allowing our staff to have access to modern technology. We want to justify that with the budget office so that they'll be able to allow us to incorporate this activity.
How much public awareness is there about the true value of our collections in the museums, and more particularly our monuments? And therefore, what is also the state of the monuments? Which ones can you point to and say this is valuable? I won't be surprised, for instance, to see that you will see persons who are selling or are operating this bend-down boutique, select, make, I select, having their things around what we ordinarily refer to as monuments. So what is the level of public awareness as to the real value of collections in museums and monuments, and what is the state of our monuments?
I think the value attached to our cultural heritage depends, as you said, on the awareness of the citizens. And I think that is lacking at the moment. We value our objects, or our objects are valued more in countries abroad. Of course, that's why we have this, so much preference and interest for our cultural heritage. And there are so many of this illicit, trafficking of artifacts and so on. Because when it goes to the international market, you find that our objects are priceless. So that is a serious issue for us also in terms of security-wise and in terms of preservation of our artifacts. So one of the important things for us to do is to create this awareness. And for us to create awareness, we need to have access to our collections, because people need to come and see and appreciate these artifacts before they will now, value it. So we cannot, describe or explain to people how our artifacts, we value our artifacts, and how the international community value our objects. So there's a need for people to visit museums and see these artifacts. So we have so many now plans for us to get this opportunity of, reaching out to the communities. And one of them, of course, is we want to interact with the private sector and also with corporate organizations. I have in my plan to partner with the banks, whereby we want to create a kind of a mini gallery in the banks, especially in the banking halls, where people will go and transact their businesses. We want to also see how we can secure our artifacts in these ATM galleries, so that we can partner with the banks. Of course, we want the banks to sponsor this, to fund this activity. It will be of help for them also. Visitors going there to see artifacts, to see objects, is going to help in their business as well. So we are looking at this.
It's
and also,
virtually, I hope. Virtual, not physical.
Physical.
Okay.
Physical, of course.
What about the monuments? Which are the top flight monuments that you say, look, you can go to this place, there will be a wow experience that you have? Monuments.
Well, as I said, we have 65 national monuments that are declared. And then we have 2 World Heritage sites. The first and only cultural landscape declared in Africa is the Sukur Cultural Landscape in Adamawa State. And we have that. And then we also have the Oshun Oshogbo Grove. That is a World Heritage site. And then we also have many national monuments. Among them are the colonial buildings in different cities, the Mongo Park House, the Landa Brothers, and so on. And then we also have the tomb of the mausoleum of our late Prime Minister, Sir Abubakar Tafawa Balewa in Bauchi. We also have some palaces that are declared national monuments, some religious centers declared national monuments. So we have them so many. And then we have also what we call private, structures that are declared national monuments. We have the Waterhouse in Lagos. We have the Ilejo Bar in Lagos also, which was actually brought down, but is going to be reconstructed now. So we have so many of them across the country, and we are coming out with so many as well.
You spoke about repatriation of our cultural artifacts from foreign countries that were taken away by the colonial leaders. How receptive are they to giving it back to us?
It's a big kind of, not fight, but struggle. If you recall, there were many times Nigeria has attempted to, request for the repatriation of our artifacts. Where the last popular one was in 1970s, but that didn't yield any results. And now we have started, and we are very lucky that Germany has boldly come out to say that they are going to repatriate all our Benin bronzes. And we are in, the process now. We have been having series of meetings. The delegates are here in Nigeria presently, and we have been meeting with them. So by next year, 2022, the objects will start coming. We have other countries,
especially the UK.
Especially the UK, that we have a kind of a complicated system in the UK. But the museums, we are actually discussing with the museums through this Benin Dialogue Group, and they are also willing to repatriate the objects. But all depends ultimately on the parliament, because that's what they say, parliament has to give the approval. But I think if Germany will come out boldly to say that, then I believe other countries will follow suit.
What are the primary sources of collections for museums now? And related to that question would be, how much of archaeological work is going on to excavate what may be hidden for centuries, if not millennia, in this country? Are you having, archaeologists still exploring, and are they Nigerians, and who is sponsoring them?
Well, the first question regarding the source of our artifacts, we have a large collection actually across our museums. Where this issue of our objects in museums outside the country, I think we have more objects actually in the country. We have large collections in our storage, so we don't even have space to exhibit them because we don't have enough galleries. So one of the ways through which we get or acquire collection is one through purchase, or what I call paying of compensation. So we engage, specialists, dealers who actually go out to the communities, engage with the communities, and collect artifacts on our behalf, and then we compensate them. This is to avert illicit trafficking of the objects. Because if we don't do that, ultimately these objects will be taken out of the country. Another source is through ethnographic research, where our ethnographers will go to the field and then interact with the communities and see. And another way is through excavations, and also through bequest and so many other, ways of getting our collections. In terms of our, archaeological activities, we have done quite a number of archaeological excavations in the past. And of recent, the NOC excavation team that completed excavation last year with a German, funded project, participation of some German, archaeologists. We also have our own archaeologists that actually go out to do excavations. And in many ways, we do rescue excavation also, because we find that in local governments and states that some communities will come across something, and then our attention will be drawn. Immediately we organize our archaeologists to go and do rescue excavation. We have one now in Muvi, which we got recently, and then one in Kogi. So we are doing that. And then we also have universities that have archaeological departments, and they do excavations also through maybe collaboration with the overseas funding, and our staff of the commission are also attached to these projects, and these are ways we do our archaeological excavations. But Nigeria has so many archaeological sites, and we have issues of illegal excavations as well, and we are looking at that. We have interrupted a lot of them, but of course Nigeria is a big country, and it's really very difficult to manage some of these things.
Okay, the Director General, National Commission of Museums and Monuments, Professor Abba Issa Tijani. Thank you so much for coming on Good Morning Nigeria. It's an eye-opener, actually. I hope we get to visit the museums very soon in a very conducive environment. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
Well, sports update is next. Super Eagles striker Kelechi Iheanacho wins Leicester City Goal of the Month award. And in tennis, Australian Open organizers confident event will return to January time slot for 2022 in Melbourne. Let's join Sport Desk for this.
Kelechi Iheanacho has been announced as the winner of the Leicester City